guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are watching this video, which you obviously are, I want you to raise your hand if you have ever feared weight gain or the concept of weight gain scares you. So yeah, raise your hand. I'm gonna raise mine, and I obviously can't see you guys, but I can imagine there are quite a lot of us who have raised our hands, you know. I'm one of them. I'm staring at myself right now. If you're brave enough, feel free to comment down below an emoji with like the hand up or something. I just feel like there is a general consensus that a lot of us fear weight gain. You are not alone, honestly. If you feel that way, or you have felt that way, or you feel that way right now, trust me, you are not alone. But it just makes me so sad, and it makes me so kind of angry, because we feel this way because of society, because of what we've heard others say, because of what we read in magazines, what we see on social media. As bad as it sounds, from like the way you've been raised, or for example in my life, the fact that I've grown up dancing has kind of made me feel this way. There are just so many reasons why a lot of us in this world do not want to gain weight, and will do anything not to gain weight, whether that be to undereat, whether that be to over-exercise, whether that be to count calories, obsess over numbers, over scales. You know, there are so many reasons why weight gain is feared, and in this video I'm going to talk you through my story, and in particular focus on how my mindset has changed, because the bottom line is that yes, I have gained weight. I obviously struggled with food for a very long time, and I finally came to the realization that, you know, I needed to gain weight to be healthy, and I have finally reached that point. And you know, to be able to sit here and say that now is just such an achievement for me. Thank you for being here and watching this video with me, and we're gonna have a chat, aren't we, Minnie? We are gonna have a chat. You're gonna provide everyone with moral support. I do need 2 disclaimers at the start of this video. First of all, this is a trigger warning. I am going to be talking about things like weight gain, body image, mental health and stuff like that, so if you don't feel that this video is right for you, then please click off it. And secondly, I am obviously not a professional, and so yeah, I'm just speaking from my personal experiences, but as always, I really just want to help you guys. If you're listening, send some like positivity and love to you guys through the screen from obviously myself and Milka today. I personally feel that, you know, weight gain is more of a mental journey than a physical one, and I've just gained so much more than just weight through gaining weight, you know, to be healthy. And something I think I should say quite near to the start of this video is that everyone looks very different. What is healthy for one person will look very different to someone else. I say this all the time, but if everyone lived in exactly the same way, we would still look very different. Please don't obviously make any comparisons. If you followed these more chatty, heart-to-heart videos on my channel recently, you'll know that I've had a lot of revelations over this past year, or even this past 6 months. I don't know what really clicked, but I remember near the start of this year, I had like some general checkups at the doctors. They weighed me and they measured me, and they obviously calculated my BMI, and for the first time in like a very long time, my BMI came out as healthy. I'm not saying that BMI, body mass index, is the most accurate way to determine their body composition and how healthy they are. I'm not saying that at all, but it is a standard measure that is used. And you know, for once in my life, I was happy to see that I was in the green. Like, I was at a healthy BMI, and I had not been that way for a very long time. If I'd have seen that in the past, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like I shouldn't be in the healthy range. Like, as awful as it sounds, I would have been like, I need to be in that underweight zone, which is so backwards. And it's all just part of that voice in your head that is telling you to be thin, to stay thin, to not gain weight. But you know, in that moment I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so good. Like, I'm healthy for once in my life, and I was so happy. And that, you know, it didn't mark a turning point, because I was changing and I was shifting my mindset in lots of other ways, but that is something that comes to mind. So what I want to like talk about as one kind of part of this video is, you know, the reasons why I feared weight gain for a very long time. You know, the reasons why I refused to eat more and to gain weight and to change the way I looked. I recently made a whole video on my channel about my struggles with food, and I kind of like talked about it from my perspective now. So if you are interested, I will leave a link to that video in a card and in the description box. Even though the worst of that phase was over when I kind of like finished school and went to university, I still had these thoughts in my mind, you know, I still hadn't fully recovered, and so I still feared weight gain, certain foods. I never really spoke openly about this, and I always just kind of like tricked myself into thinking that I was okay when I wasn't. You know, we all make mistakes, we all learn from these things, and if I could go back and change things, I would have like tackled my issues head on sooner and not waited until like now for things to fall into place. But in some respects I feel like I needed time, like I needed to grow up and mature, and eventually things would settle into place. Like I would eventually work things out, which is not like the best solution at all, but part of me does believe that in just growing up and in having more diverse life experiences, we could say that I've reached this point where I am now in my life, sort of thing. So a big part of this is obviously, you know, like to do with food and to do with exercise. I for a very long time have been really quite obsessive with like food and exercise, so I'd have to like eat the same amount every day. I'd eat certain foods so that I knew how much I was eating, and so that I knew I would stay the same way, I wouldn't change in that respect. And similarly, you know, like I had to be doing the same amount of exercise every day. It was very much in line with an orthorexic mindset. Again, I've said this before, but it's so ironic because I wasn't even healthy. I was underweight. My mental health wasn't in the right place. So even though I wanted to be healthy and I convinced myself that I was healthy, I ultimately wasn't, which is like the ultimate paradox of orthorexia. Other things that kind of like reinforced this idea in my mind that I needed to stay looking the same way were things like often looking at old pictures on my phone and seeing what I look like. Ultimately, body checking, not to look back at old pictures and to reminisce and to like think back to happy memories, to look back and compare. Like, who does that? I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I did do that. I don't want to stray too far away from this point, but you know, like with pictures, for example, and even with videos and stuff, another reason why it's just so wrong to do that anyway, no matter who you are, you shouldn't be doing that anyway, because like it depends on like angles, it depends on lighting, it depends on the device that you have used to take a picture with, you know, like there are so many variables that influence the way you look in pictures. Life is too short to worry about those things. Kind of related to that, and something that I would focus on and fixate on, especially when looking at pictures, was this idea of like a thigh gap. The thigh gap and this ideal of having a thigh gap was ultimately one of the things that I think triggered my struggles with food and body image at the very start. But I have held on to that for a very long time. Like I've wanted to have a thigh gap and to always see myself with a thigh gap. And for me, like the thigh gap trend was like born in the dance studio. Like I heard a lot of people that I danced with talk about this idea of the thigh gap, and then I saw it on social media. Everything kind of like followed from that point onwards. But there is so much as well to be said about thigh gaps. Like it depends on your body shape, the way you look. It's not just about weight, but it was something that I have been very obsessive over as well. Ultimately because one of my biggest insecurities for a long time has been my legs. I've always thought they're too big, too muscular, too masculine looking, and I've always kind of wanted different shaped legs. Like I've looked at models and been like, why can't my legs look like that? Why can't I have longer legs, thinner legs? But I've just constantly battled myself and put myself down because of the way I look, and because I haven't had what somebody else had, when I'd never looked like someone else. So why was I even trying to look like someone else? And why was I trying to look like, you know, a 12-year-old for the rest of my life? Why was I trying to look like someone who was ill and malnourished for the rest of my life? I don't know. The final thing I just wanted to mention here was my period, or more accurately, lack of a period. I have made a video about how I got my period back. I've talked about my period story, but I went through a very long phase of amenorrhea for like 7 or 8 years, or even longer than that. Something else that made me fear weight gain was this idea of me getting my period back. And for me, like not having a period was an indication that I was still the same weight. I just didn't want to get my period back. And you know, one of the first things that I said to mum when the day did happen last year in 2020, when I did get my period back after so many years, one of the first things I said when I was crying and I was bawling my eyes out was, you know, I've gained weight. I must have gained weight, because this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have gained weight. And the truth is, yes, I had gained weight because I needed surplus energy to allow my body and my hormonal system to function normally. You know, in that moment, I didn't want to believe what had happened. And I knew deep down that was the truth. But as I said, weight gain was like my worst nightmare. I don't know, I felt lost. I didn't know who I was in that moment, but I can truly sit here and say that I've like found myself again. Like, I found the healthy Holly. I have reached a point when I'm happy and so grateful to be who I am. I think Milk was on my bed, by the way. That's why you can't see her anymore. I haven't chucked her out, I promise you. Yeah, she's on my bed. But anyway, the next few things I just wanted to talk about were why weight gain is really quite hard, why it's so difficult to challenge your fears and to say, you know, it's okay to gain weight. This kind of does link to, you know, like why I feared weight gain, but I want to specifically kind of like answer the question, you know, why is it so hard to gain weight? And for me, I kind of have picked out 3 key reasons. There are obviously more and they will be very personal for you. But for me, like the primary reason why it was so hard for me to let go of that fear was because, you know, I was so worried about what other people would think of me, and in particular what my family would think of me if I changed and if I gained weight. I don't really know what I thought they would think, but I always create these ideas in my head that, you know, people will look at me differently and they'll think negatively of me if I change, or they'll say things like, oh, she's gained weight, or they'll say things behind my back, which is even worse. I would literally traumatize myself with these thoughts, and this was really tough for me when I was in my gap year and I'd come home from traveling. So this was 2020, yeah, the start of 2020, like the first half of 2020. And this was around the time when I got injured and when I stopped running because of my injury and I wasn't exercising as much. And then I went into this binge eating period because my mental health was so poor. I knew that my body was changing. I could see my body changing. I could see me gaining a bit of weight. And so as I said, I was so scared about what my family would think of me. I would therefore always be wearing baggy clothes. You know, my travel trousers that I took to Australia, like I love those trousers in Australia. I now really kind of don't like those trousers because I now associate them with that time when I was so worried about what I looked like, and I was so worried about showing what my body looked like in front of other people. And so I would always be wearing like those baggy trousers or just like baggy clothes that I knew wouldn't show my figure. Even if I was going to exercise, I would put on like leggings or like shorts and I would put the baggy trousers over, and when I knew someone wasn't watching me, I would then take them off. Like, that is how bad it got, okay? And I'm not even exaggerating. Going back even further to the year before, when we weren't in lockdown, I had just graduated and we went on a family holiday to Greece. And as I said in my recent ED recovery video, you know, like I ruined that family holiday ultimately because I didn't like the way I looked. I was obsessing over what I was eating, what I was wearing, what I looked like. I had so many mental breakdowns on that holiday. I cried so much, and it was supposed to be a fun holiday. These ideas of what other people thought of me clouded my mind and they drove me crazy. The second thing, and this is something I think a lot of people can relate to, weight gain is so hard because a lot or some of your clothes are not going to fit you anymore, or they're going to fit you differently, or they're going to feel very different when you wear them. This is another thing that has triggered me. I'd sometimes put on some jeans, for example, or something that used to fit me in a certain way. They used to be a bit maybe baggy or something, and I put them on and they're tighter. That to me was an indication that I gained weight. If you have been underweight for a long time, then it is inevitable that you are at some point going to gain weight and your clothes are going to fit differently, or they're not going to fit you anymore, and that is just the normal process of weight gain. You have to go through that, and the number one solution to this is to just sell your clothes or donate them. Get rid of those clothes and buy some new ones. You just have to move on from that time. Like, you have to accept the fact that your body is going to change. Another thing that has been hard for me about weight gain is, you know, the fact that my hormonal system has kick-started again, and so I am going through a lot of different hormonal changes, and the number one thing for me has been bloating. Because my hormones have kicked back in, because my menstrual cycle is now functioning, you know, I do get bloated on a regular basis. I can't control it, but you know, like, I have to live with that now because my hormones work, and that's a good thing. But you know, again, that's just been so hard for me because there have been times when I felt so insecure because I've just felt so bloated. Other things not really to do with weight are things like, you know, me getting a few more spots here and there, me actually sweating, me actually having a bit of body odor, me having achy boobs. Not only is your body like changing in terms of like you gaining weight, but like you have these other symptoms and these other things going on that you haven't experienced in your life or maybe for a long time, and so it's all just really overwhelming. So we have reached the best part of this video, the most exciting bit of this video, the most positive bit of this video, the bits that I have been so like excited for. I just wanted to talk about weight gain and the benefits of weight gain. So yeah, if you take anything away from this video, I really want you to take away these things. As I said at the start of this video, and I will again reiterate it here, everyone looks very, very different. But you know, the first thing is that I feel like I am now healthy for me. It's definitely not though just about aesthetics, it's about how you feel. For example, I feel so much stronger. I can run further and faster now. Like running, I have always enjoyed running. I've sometimes enjoyed it for the wrong reasons, but you know, I'm at a point now when I run because I simply love it. And I'm obviously doing the London Marathon, as you guys know. I will throw in here that I do have a fundraising page, so if you do want to sponsor me, the link is down below. But you know, like I'm running the marathon this year and I am running faster than I ever have in my whole entire life. And that's because I have the strength and the energy to do that, and I'm sustaining paces that I could never sustain or reach in the past, especially over long distances. And I'm running, yes, longer distances. Obviously a big one for me is like hormonal balance. I am hormonally balanced now. My attitude towards food, this idea of food freedom, I feel like I've really reached that point. Like yes, I'm obviously vegan, but like, you know, life is just way too short again to not enjoy things like peanut butter, like chocolate. Honestly, you guys know now that I love peanut butter so much. I never used to eat that in the past because I knew it was like fat and I thought it would make me fat. But now I literally don't go a day without eating it because I love it so much. You only have one life, YOLO, like enjoy it whilst it lasts, enjoy food. And then tying all this together, like I just feel happier, like so much happier. I've never been so happy and so consistently happy for a very long time in my life. Like obviously I'm still someone who gets down and I still get frustrated and I still get a bit angry, you know, here and there. Like I'm not saying I'm always positive, but I've laughed so much recently and I've just been so genuinely happy. As I said, for me, I can describe this in me finding like the real Holly again. If I go back to my childhood, I literally would humiliate myself, people would laugh at me and I wouldn't care. I was genuinely such a happy child, and for like a big part of my life I feel like that's been missing, and I finally like found that missing piece of the jigsaw again. I've put it back where it belongs, and that is me, you know, that is me complete, you know, like happiness and laughter is so important to me, and to have that back in my life, to have that little spark back is like the best thing, like the best thing. If that doesn't give you the encouragement and the inspiration to come along the same journey that I've been on, then yeah, I don't know what will. But yeah, that is what I wanted to share with you guys today. I want to bring back what I eat in a days and stuff like that, and in those videos I wanted to talk about like the practical things, just like enjoy food together, you know. Obviously I have made some Instagram reels, but they are like really short, and I want to make longer what I eat in a day videos. And something else I want to like stress and emphasize at the end is that you are gonna have like good days and bad days. I would be lying if I sat here and said, you know, like in me sitting here now and feeling like fully free from my past self, I still have good and bad days, you know. I still have the days when I'll look at myself and I'll feel really bloated and I'll just be like, oh, I don't like the way I look, you know, or I'll get myself a bit down. Nobody is immune to like negative thoughts. And so as I've said in a different video, what recovery means to me is having the mental strength to overcome those negative thoughts. You know, like I can never unknow anything, and I don't think I will ever rid myself of those like negative thoughts or that voice inside my head. But being recovered means that that voice is like muted and silent. You know, I have the ability to push it back down when it decides to wake up one day. You know, I can suppress those thoughts and I can get rid of them. I can now say to myself, you know, look, Holly, you are stronger than those thoughts, you are better than that, and you are you. Like, you cannot change the way you look, you shouldn't change the way you look. So yeah, that is how I'm gonna finish this video. I feel like I've been talking for a very long time, But you know, this is something I've felt really strongly about. It's something I've really wanted to share with you guys, and I only hope it has helped you out in some way. You are beautiful and you should love yourself, and you shouldn't change yourself for anyone. You know, weight gain is something you shouldn't fear. If you need to gain weight to be healthy, it is okay, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Happiness, fulfillment, joy, life is waiting for you at the end of the tunnel. Trust me, it's 100% worth the ride. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for listening to this video and for being here with me. Definitely like this video if you enjoyed it, comment down below, subscribe if you're new and you want to stick around. I have so much exciting content coming in the future because I am finishing my masters as this video is going up on my channel. Also, if you feel like somebody else should hear this message, then definitely share it. And yeah, as always, I will speak to you very soon in another video. Bye! I know you love me, but please can you sit down? I'm trying to film a serious video. Say hi! Ooh, cushy, 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 cushy. Minnie, the desk is so hairy already. Please, can you just sit on my lap and stay there? Woman, let me be a woman. Woman, woman, woman. So much hair on this desk. No, sit down. I'm gonna get angry now.